everybody, and welcome to another Florida-friendly landscaping educational program. This week, we're going to talk about something a little different. Usually, we talk about how, gardeners who do most or all of their own work can have a Florida-friendly yard. Today, we're going to kind of cover the other side. There's no reason you can't be Florida-friendly and have, somebody hired to keep your landscape looking nice. So we're going to talk about hiring Florida Friendly. I am Lilly Browning. I work for Hernando County Utilities and Water Conservation. My program is Florida Friendly Landscaping. This is my email, LillyB@hernandocounty.us. Lilly has 2 L's in the middle. If you would like a PDF copy of this program, or if you have any other questions, please email me at any time and I'll be glad to send you the PDF or answer your questions. Also, this is being recorded, so it'll be available on Facebook later this afternoon, and within a few days it will be on Hernando County Government YouTube, and the subtitles are involved with the YouTube programs. So if you know people who say, no, I just don't do the Facebook, a lot of people do YouTube instead. And I have a lot of programs on that YouTube channel. This is what I am working off of today. There we go. It is this fact sheet that you can actually get online. And it is a checklist for hiring a landscape professional. So this is the link where I got it from. You don't have to try and commit that long link to memory. You can either get the PDF of this, or you can just Google hiring Florida Friendly. There's an entire website that the University of Florida, Florida Friendly Landscaping Program has devoted to this subject, because we're embarking on something new and exciting. There's going to be an actual certification to be a certified Florida Friendly landscape professional. It's new. So we don't have it up and running yet in Hernando County, but we will. And we're going to talk about that, what all that entails as we go along. So, the first thing you want to do as a homeowner is figure out what you want from this landscape professional, because there may be, different things you are looking for. And some of these things may entail the same person, or it may entail different companies coming out. If all you want is mowed, that's all you want. You just want your mow, blow, and go guys. If that's what you want, that's one thing, but there are still qualifications, still things you should expect even from the company that just comes and mows and goes along. And we're going to talk about, what you should ask of them. Do you want mowing and basic lawn care as well? Mowing and irrigation system care. There are some companies who will do both. A lot of times though, you'll have to hire a separate irrigation company. But a lot of the irrigation companies do offer lawn care as well. You just got to ask around. And we're going to get into what you should ask of each of these people. Do you want your landscape beds maintained? That's going to be an extra. Some people say, no, just come and mow every week and I'll take care of everything else, because, you can do that. But some people want those landscape, the beds, they want weeding done, they want pruning done, all of that. What about tree care? Now, there are some all-inclusive companies that's going to provide all that for you, but chances are for really good tree care, I always recommend a professional certified arborist. Maybe that person is part of, your overall company. And we'll get into that as well. What do I mean by concierge care? I mean, and we see all the movies and everything, all the rich people have the gardener. Is there someone, if this is what you're looking for, be prepared to pay for it, who really can take the time with just you to do that hand weeding, to really listen and do exactly all those little things that you want. Don't expect that of, your mow, blow and go guys. They've got a schedule, they've got so many people. So talk about your expectations, look around, see who can help fulfill those. Now there may be someone, you say, I enjoy being out in my yard. There are stuff I want to do. I just can't do it all anymore, especially in this Florida summer heat. So if you want to do work too, and with their help, be very clear, with your expectations. Don't sabotage the work that they're trying to do. Be very clear with, hey, this week, let's do this together. I'm going to prune these shrubs, and I don't want you to spread, pesticide all over the place. That's something you should talk about them all along, and we're going to discuss that as well. But that's the first step, figuring out what are your expectations. So you can clearly communicate with whomever you hire. And if they say, no, I'm sorry, that's just not going to work out for us, then move on to the next person. Find that right fit for you. All of your, anybody you hire to come to your house, this is just a basic list of things that they should have. They should have workers' compensation insurance. They should have general liability insurance. You don't want one of the workers to get harmed at your home and you be liable for it. Make sure that they have those insurances. Now, these other are specific to the landscaping company. Here to landscaping companies. Here in Hernando County, we have a fertilizer ordinance. And as part of that, well, in the entire state, actually now, since 2014, anyone who applies fertilizer to your yard has to have a license to do so. Now, an individual may apply fertilizer to their own yard without a license, but if anybody else is applying fertilizer to somebody else's yard, they have to have this fertilizer license. And in order to achieve that, they have to take classes called GIBMPs. And what I'm going to try to do here, since I'm mostly talking to homeowners, is to not use too much industry lingo so that you understand what I'm talking about. GIBMPs are Green Industries Best Management Practices. That's a course they have to take. They can take it online. They can take it at an extension office. Dr. Lester and I have taught them we used to teach them fairly regularly pre-COVID. And you take that course and then pass a test, and you have to pay a certain amount. I don't remember what the amount is at this point. And then you have your license. Unlike this pest control, certified pest control operator, that is a pretty big license, and that person is allowed to have people work under them, under that person's license. The fertilizer license is to each individual. If Bob and Jim work for Greg, Bob and Jim each need their own fertilizer license. But the good thing about that, if Bob and Jim go work for someone else, they take their fertilizer license with them. Here in Hernando County, they have to, after they get that license, be permitted through our building department to apply fertilizer. So you can go and check them by their name. And those links to do that are on the website that I gave you. Just look up FloridaFriendly Hiring UF, and you'll find the website. It has all kind of great links. Back to pest control. A certified pest control operator, that's like the highest license, most expensive license. It's pretty expensive that you can have, but usually that's the boss. the owner of the company who has that. And people can apply under that person's license. The limited commercial, well, the pest control person or someone working under them and under their guidance is able to apply pesticides, including herbicides. Herbicides are pesticides to turf and landscape beds. There's another license that's the limited commercial landscape, and basically they can only apply to landscape beds. They can't touch turf. Sometimes in the past that got referred to as a nickname as the Roundup license, which is kind of a misnomer because there is only a certain amount of, they can only use, I believe, pesticides with a caution. Pest control operator can go on up and use more than that. Now those are what they have to have by law to do their certain jobs. This is what you want to look for to separate them out, you know, to say, who do I want working in my landscape? I want them to have a basic understanding of how to do it correctly and how to do it in a Florida-friendly way. So these are the certifications you want to look for. That Green Industries Best Management Practices, that's how they get their fertilizing license. But there are other ones as well. Florida Nursery Growers and Landscape Association certifications. Some of the best certifications out there, if not the best certifications out there. That'll help you. This particular organization known as FNGLA really has some good information for professionals out there. The certification that we are going to be offering soon is this Florida-friendly certified professional. And also, if they're going to be working with trees, you really do want them to be a certified arborist. And that is, that's a bit of a chore. You know, it's not easy to go through that process as well. So you know somebody really knows what they're doing when they get that certification. The other considerations, of course, just like with any business that you're going to bring into your home, check their Better Business Bureau rating. Do they have guarantees of satisfaction? Testimonials and references from their past clients or, you know, people you know who have used them, and see if they have photos of what they have, you know, their work. So they come out, you basically, because you are hiring an employee, you want to do an interview, and here are some of the interview questions that you're going to ask of these people. Do you follow the 9 principles of Florida-friendly landscaping? You knew you wouldn't get through this program without me showing you these 9 principles. And don't rely on a, yeah, sure, yeah, we do that. I'm going to have specific questions to follow up on. Do you follow these principles and how? Let's start, if you have someone out from an irrigation company or from your overall company that also handles your irrigation. Here are the specific questions to make sure they're Florida friendly that you want to ask them. Do you calibrate the irrigation systems to apply 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of water per application? Not more than that. Do you check the rotor zones for matched precipitation? What did I just say? Basically, the sprinkler heads, are they putting out? Are they the same kind of sprinkler heads in each zone? Each zone should have the same kind of sprinkler heads. You shouldn't have mixed heads in a zone. But also, are they putting out the same amount, each one? If not, why? You know, does it need to be unclogged? Does it need to be fixed? This is extremely important if you live here in Hernando County or any county with with watering restrictions. Every county in Florida has at least their water management districts watering restrictions. Here in Hernando County, we are on 1 day a week. Do you set the irrigation controller schedule to follow Hernando County watering restrictions, days and times, because if they don't, and you get fined, that's your fine. That's not the irrigation company's fine. So what are those? Here they are if you live in Hernando County. If your address ends in 1, your day to water is Monday, and you may water before 8 or after 6. If I were interviewing an irrigation company who was in control of my irrigation, I would also add to it, do you have that system set early in the morning? Because that really is a better time than having the water sit all night on your lawn, which could cause fungal issues. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking to every single person who owns a home or rents a home or has a home in Hernando County. That's the only question you need to ask is, do I need to follow these? The question is, do I live in Hernando County? Then yes, you need to follow these. Even if you have a private well for your whole house or for irrigation alone, we are all pulling from the same water source. We are pulling from the aquifer. We need to protect that aquifer. Therefore, every one of our homeowners or people who live in homes and use irrigation are subject to these watering restrictions. Other questions you may want to ask them. Do you maintain irrigation systems seasonally to adjust spray patterns and check for clogs and leaks? You don't need that irrigation system on even once a week in the winter. Your lawn is in a semi-dormant state. You know you don't have to mow it as much. Why is that? Because it knows not to grow. And you may wonder why. It's still pretty warm here in the winters. It's not really responding to weather. It's responding to daylight hours. When the daylight hours are shorter, the grass knows, I'm going to take a rest now. And you can easily go 10 to 14 days in between watering events if it doesn't rain. And also check for clogs and leaks. Do you make sure that the rain sensor that I have is functional? Do you install sprinkler heads to rise above the grass height? Otherwise, it's not, really doing any good. And can we have micro irrigation in the planting beds or none? So, after the planting beds are established, your shrubs and trees, give them maybe 2 years on, an irrigation. After that, they can survive pretty well on natural rainfall, and they will be happier and probably live longer. Mowing. Here's the questions you need to ask. If anyone, even if you just have them come, mow, blow, and go, go on to the next house or, next customer. It's important. This is extremely important. Do you mow at least 3.5 to 4 inches high? So many of them will say, yeah, sure I do. You have a ruler in your house, go out and check. Make sure. It is imperative to the health of your, and this is for St. Augustine or Bahia lawns. Mowing high is better for the lawn in general. The roots will be deeper and longer. You'll shade out more weeds. You will have more surface area to photosynthesize. If you cut it too short, you are majorly stressing your lawn, opening it up to diseases and other problems. Do you keep the grass clippings in the lawn area? If you really don't want to remove more than 1/3 of the blade at a time, sometimes that's not practical. But as long as you're not, cutting haystacks out of your lawn, let those grass clippings go into the lawn area. That provides nitrogen back to the lawn. Does not cause thatch. That is not what causes thatch. Overwatering and mowing too low causes thatch. When you have large clumps of grass, because it's sometimes difficult, they have a lot of people to get done in a day. So they may be out at your yard when the dew is still there or something. Do you break up large clumps of grass clippings? And this is extremely important. Wasn't really even on this list. I added this, but it's very important. Clean those blades between clients. We are very much aware in our own lives right now how diseases are spread. So, at least a good rinsing off of that blade, if not just throwing some soapy water on it, so that you're not getting what their previous customer, the lawn there, may have had. Also, okay, let's talk about fertilizing. If you have someone who's going to fertilize your lawn, remember again, they need that fertilizer license. And do you follow the Hernando County Fertilizing Ordinance? If they act like they never heard of it, then, if it's someone you trust, then maybe help educate them about the ordinance, or maybe rethink, somebody else might need to do this. Do you follow University of Florida recommendations? That's our land grant university where the College of Agriculture is, where all the research was done. And I threw in as long as they follow the county ordinance, because there is some, you'll find publications from the University of Florida saying you should start fertilizing March 15th or something. Our ordinance says you cannot fertilize until April 1st, as it's written at this time. So, a couple weeks either way is not going to harm you. So make sure they follow the ordinance, but follow the recommendations as far as how much to put down and basically the time of year. Do you use slow release products? Show me that you are. Do you use soil tests to determine fertilizer needs? You don't have to fertilize just because, well, it's time. I'm going to fertilize. You're on the schedule to be fertilized. That's why. What are you fertilizing for? Have you done a soil test? Do I need this fertilizer done? And how does one do a soil test? You can do it yourself, actually, through, again, the University of Florida. You can call the Hernando County Extension Office at 352-754-4433 and ask them about how you get a soil test. Or you can go online. You can look up IFAS, that's IFAS, Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, Soil Lab. That's where you'll find this form that you can fill out and follow the directions, and you get like a sampling all over your yard, a composite, and put it in a paper bag. The extension office, they may have these fancy bags you can use, or you can just use anything, paper bag, lunch bag, put it in there, follow the directions, you mail it to Gainesville at the lab. They'll test it for you. It's $10 for pH, lime, and several of the other nutrients. It's impossible to test for nitrogen. Nitrogen moves too quickly through your soil, but they make a nitrogen recommendation based on the results of everything else for you. So they will send a copy to you, email it to you probably, as well as they email it to your county extension office. So wherever you're listening from, your county extension office will get it. And if you get it and you say, I don't quite understand what they're saying here, that's when you use your county agent, call them up and say, please explain to me what they want me to do. And then you take that information back to your professional and have them work with that information. Here is the ordinance as far as it applies to professionals as well. As a homeowner, you cannot apply fertilizer to your lawn by law January 1st through March 31st, as it is written right now. But those professional applicators who are trained, certified, and registered, remember we talked about that green industries, best management practices, classes they have to take to be certified. According to the terms of the ordinance may apply fertilizer. But the only kinds they can apply is slow or controlled release. And they must be able to show you the product upon request. They have to have that, and they have to have that certificate. This program, they began needing the certificate by June 1st, 2014. So since then, it's what this means. They needed this certificate. Why do I keep saying as the ordinance is written right now? Because there's talk of changing it. And, you know, the wheels of government move slowly, especially if you add COVID in and everything. So I'm just issuing a word of warning. And the warning is, if it changes, it is not going to be less strict. Probably be a little more strict is the direction that they're going. So you have someone who's going to talk about fertilizing, you know, the fertilizer program they want to do in your yard. First, you know, you ask those other questions. Did you do a soil test? Can I do a soil test? Can we talk about those results? Do you follow the directions on the label of the fertilizer bag? Do you avoid combination products like weed and feed? Those things do not work out well in Florida landscapes. The University of Florida does not recommend combination products like that. Will you explain to me what you are using and why? Pretty good questions there. Also, do you adjust the fertilizer application seasonally or according to my lawn's needs? It's difficult for a company to have a large amount of people and get so specific for each person. But, you know, that may be a time you will want to think about having a smaller company or something. You say, okay, you know what? I will handle the fertilization because I want to be very specific about my lawn. Just some things to think about. Also ask them, do you use a broadcast sprayer with a functional deflector shield? That is to keep the fertilizer off of your driveway and sidewalk. If you're on a waterway, there are rules about that. They cannot fertilize within 10 feet of the waterway here in Hernando County. I believe it's 25 feet in Citrus County. Do you calibrate that spreader? Put out the proper amount. This was a test here they've done with these little cups. Make sure, you know, it's spreading evenly. Do you sweep the grass clippings, fertilizer, and soil away from driveways and streets and back into the lawn? Back to that mowing issue, they have one of the questions is, do you blow it back into the lawn and off the street? I really didn't add that because that's a law. And from what I see, most of them do follow that law because they'll get in trouble if they don't. But if they have any fertilizer spills or anything, you want to make sure they use a broom, not a hose, and, you know, put it back into the lawn and not out where it's going, where stormwater runoff can take it to the nearest waterway. Let's move on. If you have someone who's going to treat for pests, and this is a kind of an interesting situation here, because I think most of the professionals are doing what a lot of their customers want. And what do their customers want? Not one little living thing in their yard. And that's not a healthy ecosystem. Florida-friendly landscaping tries to keep those checks and balances. So you want to ask them, do you regularly check the landscape plants and turf for pests? Or you just assume and put something down? That's the other thing the professionals are working with. They have clients who want not one little wiggling live thing in their yard, and they also want to feel like you're doing something. So they want to see you be spreading something. That's not the Florida-friendly way. If you want your yard to be Florida-friendly, if you want the professional taking care of it, you know, to treat it in a Florida-friendly way, you have to allow for live things in your yard and get away from broadcast spraying. Do you identify the pests before considering a management plan? They may not be an actual pest. 99% of the insects out there are either beneficial or they're benign, not doing anything. Only 1% are pests. If you figure out, well, you do have pests and a high threshold of them, that's another thing. Maybe you do have some pests, but what's the threshold? Maybe your allies are also helping you. You know, if you only have a real small amount, maybe those allies are helping you, take care of that program in a much better way. But let's say you determine this does need, some attention. Do you employ the least toxic methods first? Did you go out for those big guns first? That kills everything. When you kill everything, you kill all your allies out there. You know what regenerates faster? Always the pests. They always regenerate faster. And so you really change the balance of nature. What we would recommend is where you have a problem and you determine that is a pest, it's over the threshold of, it needs some intervention from a human, blanket treat just that area where the problem is, not your whole yard. This might be kind of mind-blowing for a lot of people and for a lot of their companies, but it's the Florida-friendly way. Do you use targeted pesticides after the pests that you're going after rather than broad spectrum total insect killer? Do you follow those pesticide labels? Do you post notice of treatment? I think that's pretty, routine. They do that. What is this bug I have here? This is just kind of going back to professionals who oblige clients who don't want to have any living thing or any insect in their yard. If you saw this insect, you may be, very, very concerned. It's ugly. It must be scary. Well, this is just one instance when I'm trying to make an example here. This ugly dude, poor little ladybugs do not have pretty babies like we do or like mammals do. Their babies are not cute. This is a ladybird beetle larvae. Eats tons of aphids in a day, and it will continue to do so once it metamorphosizes into a ladybug. This is just some of the things that you should educate yourself and work together with a professional to educate them, where we don't need to eradicate every living thing. There are allies out there helping us. Plus, it's bad luck to kill ladybugs. So, let's educate ourselves. Now, I'm only going over a few things on this checklist in the interest of time. But there are other things that you can download this checklist and go over. So we talked about lawn fertilization. They have questions on the checklist about landscape plant fertilization that you should ask your professional as well. Basically sort of the same questions as the turf ones, but just as they relate to plants. Also plant installation. If they're actually going to be installing plants in your yard, there's some very important questions you need to ask them about that. You should be involved in the process of choosing those plants. It's your yard, but also to make sure that they're Florida friendly. And also how they are installed. Now, sure, you'll say, well, if they're going to install my plants, they're going to give me a warranty. So plants die, they're going to have to replace it. But still, for an overall healthier ecosystem, planting it, even literally the act of planting it the right way, is very, very important as well. And this list will cover it. So again, you can find that list, or just by even just Googling checklist for hiring a landscape professional, Florida friendly. Here's some things I want you to think about when you're going to hire someone. And so many people they're looking for ways to pinch pennies. But I want you to be aware of a false economy, these ideas that customers get. And I know right now for a lot of professionals, gas is high. The price of gas is rising. You know that when you're out driving around. Think about your landscape professional. They're getting gas all the time, that's a big expense for them. Also the mileage, how far they're going. Now, if they're smart, they're going to keep a route that is done in an efficient way and not be running from one end of the county back, forth. But sometimes they have to if you call them out and you have a problem. You got to consider sometimes if you want this, someone who does it right, maybe they're coming from a further distance. So take into consideration their time, their mileage. Again, the cost of gas, equipment it breaks down every day. They have to get things repaired. And right now, you may even have noticed in your life, there are strange little things you can't get because of these global shortages at this time. Your professional is running into that too. So he may even have equipment down that, he's just waiting to be able to fix. Not to mention there's a cost involved in repairing equipment. It's not like your mower that you mowed once a week, for 6 months a year or something. Those mowers are, doing 30 clients a day. So, and also his cost of education. If you want someone with this knowledge, the knowledge doesn't come for free to have all these certifications. So think about what you're paying for. And also with any business, they have insurance, they have all these licenses. So say you have, a company you're very happy with, or happy enough with, but they come to you and say, you know what, this next season, your cost is going to be $10 more per month. Don't say, well, then I'll just find someone else. First of all, good luck with that because they have the same expenses. That's someone else. But if you have found the person who will work with you, be willing to pay for it. Because doing it the right way is going to save money in the end on replacing a lawn every few years. If they're mowing it too low, if they are working on your irrigation and just putting out way too much water, if they are, and I didn't even really cover this in the pest section, so I'll talk about it now. A lot of the companies are still stuck on chinch bugs being a problem for St. Augustine grass. The county extension office and the master gardeners haven't seen chinch bugs in 4 years or so. We have so killed them out, which I guess could be a good thing, except they also are having a problem, the gardeners, finding any living thing in any of the lawn samples that they're brought in. 99% of the time, lawn samples that are brought into the extension office do not have an insect problem. Here in Hernando County and probably most of Central Florida, they have a disease. It is so very prevalent. It is highly probable that the problem is a disease called take-all root rot. You can't cure a disease with an insecticide. So companies that out there that routinely say, well, your problem is chinch bugs, we'll just spray for chinch bugs. Meanwhile, your fungus in this take-all root rot gets worse and worse and worse and worse. The extension office welcomes professionals to bring lawn samples of their clients to their office for free help as well. Now, there may be some disease diagnosis that you have to send to UF, and that costs some money. But overall, especially if it's take-all root rot, they're real good at diagnosing that and giving you a, I don't want to say that because you can't really get rid of it. A maintenance option to keep it in line. But overwatering and cutting too low are one of the main stressors that invites this fungus, which lives in the soil, to become a problem. So if you have a professional come out and say, yep, you got chinch bugs, say, show me. And chinch bugs are pretty small. So if you're a 6-foot guy standing there saying, yep, you got chinch bugs, unless they're on their hands and knees with a little hand lens like you saw on that scouting picture. Yeah, show me these chinch bugs. And don't show me 2 or 3, show me, 100 of them. So I know there is a problem. Otherwise, let's research and see what else the problem could be. So you let a problem like take all root rot go untreated. You could be replacing your lawn every few years. Also overwatering, you're going to save money on water if your watering is done correctly, and save money on all those chemicals for treating these plants that are stressed and have all these problems, and also money on replacing plants. We said a lot of companies, if they do install plants, they may give you a warranty, but that's going to cost them money, which is going to show up eventually, in what they charge you and with their costs. So doing it the right way may cost a little more upfront, but it's going to save you money in the long run. And when it comes down to it, and then here I'm speaking to the homeowners, who pays them? Who writes that check? Probably nobody. You probably virtually pay them nowadays, but so the person who pays the other person makes the original person what? The boss, that's right. So a lot of times, homeowners can become, intimidated by the professionals who say, oh yeah, I do it this way all the time. That's the way it's gonna be done, and that's that. No, you're hiring them. Don't be afraid to ask these questions. And if they're not willing to have a partnership and work with you for your landscape, then move on to the next person. If you are a homeowner, and we were talking about, Florida Friendly, we're wondering, are you certifiable? There is a Florida Friendly landscape certification. You can have your yard certified as Florida Friendly. That you get a nice sign and you get to brag to your neighbors and maybe have some talking points with them. How do you go about getting that? Again, here's the link for the checklist, or you can look up Florida Friendly certification, landscape certification checklist. Find that. If you can't find it, email me. I'll send you the link and tell me, hey, I'd like my yard certified Florida Friendly. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is go over that checklist. And if there's things you need to work on, then do that and then call me back and I'll be glad to come out. By the way, this checklist, I believe, does involve getting a soil test, at least it used to. So, that's something you have to do as well. And I'll be glad to help you educate your community, that you have a beautiful Florida Friendly certified yard. Now, since I've been saying that Florida Friendly landscaping will be very soon, probably in an extension office near you, maybe even via Zoom, offering Florida Friendly landscaping certified professional certification. So I'm talking to the professionals right now, but also homeowners, keep your ears open, because you want to know, what the people you bring in, what those professionals, how well they've been trained. So right now, Dr. Lester at the County Extension Office and I are going through the process of this same training, basically, so that we can become instructors. We have one more thing to do. Then on August 6th, then we will be certified instructors. So then we can start a program to help the professionals around here. So you're thinking, oh, I'm a professional. Why should I do this? What good is this going to do me? What will you gain? More of an understanding of Florida-friendly landscaping, more education from the University of Florida and you know, all their research over the years. Technical information and resources to create these Florida-friendly landscapes. There is actually a Senate bill out there that covers Florida-friendly landscaping, and we discussed that in the training. A competitive advantage, that's always a good thing. There's a lot of landscape companies out there. But if you can say, okay, yeah, but I've had all this training and I'm really concerned with helping you have an environmentally friendly yard, you have that competitive advantage. Also, you get the certification. And there is a statewide directory. When you go to that website of Hiring Florida Friendly, you can see they've already started the directory. Hernando's not listed yet because we're not quite ready yet. Now for the homeowners, you know, who may be excited to go to that directory, this is still very new. So there are counties with names, but be careful because some of the names are just the instructors, because that's, you know, how far we've gotten. So when Dr. Lester and I are finished, our name will be listed, but it'll have instructor in parentheses. And neither one of us are coming out to work on your landscape. Sorry about that. We'll give you advice, but we're not doing the work. But hopefully soon, when we start having classes, we'll start adding names to that list. And you can use the logo to advertise, you know, that you're different and you're sustainable and you're Florida friendly. What will you have to do in this training? If you have no other types of certifications, you will need to take these 6 online courses. Online's not too bad. You know, you can do that on a rain afternoon, you know, when you can't do any work outside, try and grab these courses. They are $25 each for the professional. So, you know, that's $150 right there to do these online courses. Now, but wait, there's more. If you already have your GIBMP training, you've already done that, you have your fertilizer license, you've taken the green industries best management practices training, don't worry about taking all 6 I just showed you. You only need to take these 3. So that's a money savings right there. That's only $75. If you have FNGLA certification, Florida Nursery Growers and Landscapers Association, great industry organization. They really put out some good stuff and opportunities for professionals. If you have your FNGLA certification, you only need to take 2 of the Florida Friendly certification modules, these 2 right here. Same goes for if you are a Florida Water Star accredited professional, and that accreditation comes from the Southwest Florida Water Management District. And again, you just need to take these 2 to learn about Florida Friendly codes and the recognition program. So if you're already a professional that has 1 or more of these certifications, you know, it's not a big deal. You just take these and 1 more. I'm going to get to that one. Even if you don't have these, you take all 6 and you're good to go, except there's 1 more. This is what Dr. Lester and I have yet to do. We'll be doing it on August 6th, the field module. Because of COVID, our field module is going to happen to be virtual, but I know that they are working very hard towards trying to do these in person. And this is the final thing you need to do. It's a 3 to 4 hour, you know, program that consists of both classroom and field training and an exam. I hope I pass it. It will cover, you know, Florida friendly topics, That is $50. So overall, if you're starting from the beginning and taking those 6 courses, and this certification is going to cost you about $200 as a professional. And when you're done, you sign the code of ethics, and then you can start advertising that you have that little edge. You're a Florida-friendly landscaping certified professional. And for us homeowners, we can't wait to be able to start looking on that list and bring people out to our yard who we know will work with us in the most environmentally friendly way possible. So that is that about hiring Florida Friendly. Like I said, the certification is pretty new. So we're working on training instructors right now. And hopefully within the next year, we'll get that ball rolling and be able to present to the county, hey, look at all these FFL certified professionals, so they can feel more comfortable, in their hiring process. Now, I teach classes all the time. None of them are professional, won't do anything for you for CEUs for professionals. If you happen to be a Master Gardener volunteer, though, every single one of my classes counts for CEUs for you in Hernando County. I'm not going to speak for other counties. You can ask your Master Gardener coordinator if my classes, will help you with your CEUs. Here are classes that are coming up next week. Well, I'll probably get a lot of people because they like pretty plants, so we'll have a lot of attendees then. Pretty plants that beat the heat. Then we're going to talk about tiny gardens with big impact. A lot of container gardening involved with that. I do now 2 rain barrel workshops a month. If you want to find out how to become involved with that, or our compost bin workshop combo, email me. That's the first step. The first step is to email me, and I send you the information. That's the first step towards your registration. And at the end of August, on August 25th, we're going to do a class on trees, on Florida trees in Central Florida. Again, my email for any questions or anything is LillyB, LILLYB, at hernandocounty.us. Email is usually the best way to reach me, but you can call on my desk phone. I've been back in the office about 3 months now. And here's my Facebook page. Good morning, Sid. We just let you in, but we're almost done. But we're recording this, so you'll get to watch it recorded. My Facebook page holds all of these recorded classes. It lets you know about the different events coming up, and also that Hernando County government YouTube. Go on there. I have a playlist on there. It's Hernando County government, not just Hernando County YouTube, Hernando County government YouTube. I've got a playlist. I think I counted close to 50 classes on it now. So, you can catch me or Dr. Lester for any classes at any time. I have an exciting class, not really a class. Every Thursday, Dr. Lester at the County Extension Office holds a virtual plant clinic. He's on vacation, enjoying himself in the mountains. So as his regular co-host, I'm going to be hosting it. And I've invited a Master Gardener volunteer who is also the president of Hernando County Native Plant Society. She has the most gorgeous yard in a gated community, with only a little turf and a lot of natives. And so we have photos and we get to pick her brain about native plants. Also, she was involved in a transition garden in front of the county extension office that has gone 100% native. So tell anyone who wants to know a lot about native plants. That'll be tomorrow at 10. You can find that link on my Facebook page, as well as on County Extension's Facebook page. Sorry you came in late, Sid, but I'll be glad to send you the PDF and the link to the recording for this program. And I just want to thank everyone for listening, and we will join you tomorrow, hopefully for the virtual plant clinic, and see you next week for our class on pretty plants that beat the heat. Thank you and have a great week.